Hello, I'm Dr. Wendy Rowley of the Wonder of Human Design YouTube channel in the playlist series, Are You Ready for Your Next Growth Period? And this is episode 8, and the title of this one is Why Now? Okay, so in that last episode, I want to just sort of conclude what the answer was, because even I came out of that one going, what was the answer? And the question was, what is the purpose of a growth period? And it seems like the bottom line answer was to bring in new information, new frequency, new ideas, new inventions, new energy. We know in physics a wavelength of light has information in it. So that seems to be the easy answer, a quick, simple answer. So why now, though? Why now? I don't know which aspect of now she means. Why are we getting these upgrades now? Why are we moving over to a benevolent feeling paradigm now through the course of evolution? Or is she talking about why now are we having an expansion of intuition and the golden akashas and more of these golden akashas and information into our growth periods and our intuitive faculties now, because these have all been upgraded. So let's see what she has to say about that. Oh, good day to you, dear beings of light. I'm Aliania of Cosmic Service. I am indeed a Pleiadian mother of sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, and peace be with you. So we are not the answer all, and we are not the ones with all the answers, but we are sharing information to help give a little more understanding of your spiritual nature, of the changes going on at the periphery of the planet, at your group soul level, and about the evolution going forward because of these changes, as well as to give information about the upshift to higher frequencies of your spiritual anatomy. And we also offer opportunities for people to have that. And that's pretty much our work. This one's work is bringing in a new healing paradigm for women called women's resonance healing and women's resplendence healing. And it was originally percolated in, it had to be evolved, it had 4 parts. Now it's down to, after June solstice, it's down to 2 parts. It's elegant, easy, and it's only here for 50 years for women to be able to do a fast track healing because of the heart field connection that they have. And it's just to sort of scrub the system a little bit faster because you all are asking for that. So what does why now mean, and what aspect are we talking about? Well, we're going to talk about all 3 aspects because we're starting to speak through the consciousnesses of either Gaia, the Christ healing and evolutionary force, and the divine intelligence force that has the key that allows everything to go forward. So, and we've also said these are related to the blue-green healing layer, the white-gold consciousness healing layer, and the newest healing layer, these 3 consciousnesses. We've also said the system is expanding, and there's upgrades going on to move you from a pain body paradigm of that's the wrong decision because that doesn't feel good, to a benevolent feeling paradigm through the golden akashas and the Christ feeling spirit body, as opposed to the old karmic akash of the pain body. So you will have in the future, going forward for the rest of your planetary evolution, basically, a benevolent feeling paradigm of this is the right decision. This is going to be for the best and highest good of all. We can feel this because you need that. Or you're going to keep creating out of the old pain bodies. Makes sense if you think it through and you sort of listen to these tapes. Also could sound like seduction, but it's not. Okay, so this one has these same questions. So let's start with Gaia, the blue-green healing layer that's coming online all the way down with these new connections. So we started to say that the end-of-life incarnation part I was changing, 17 energy streams and dimensions go through there. The birth bardo is changing. Another 17 dimensions go through there. Not the same 17 as there. How do you like that one? 17 and 17. How many are we already at? Okay, you're multidimensional beings, if you want to believe that. So those are upgraded for the benevolent paradigm. The ancestral energies are upgraded. These 3 grids we talk about are all upgraded. And your spiritual anatomy at the higher self, individual to group soul level is upgraded. In other words, a lot's getting upgraded. So in the consciousness layer of Gaia, where your golden ancestral energy is with inventions on the human consciousness grid, as well as now it'll have the soul creational golden Akash and our time capsule Akash in it, comes through Gaia. So that energy had to be upgraded, and the intuitive faculties for the new benevolent paradigm had to be integrated into that, because that comes through there. The next level, rising up between dense level and going up to soul at the periphery of the planet, you hit what we call the white gold healing layer. That's consciousness healing. That's your Christ healing spirit body. And the group Christ healing spirit body that you all share at various levels until it's the consciousness force, living being of this planetary system. We're going to just leave that there because that's for some people. And so that is where the golden akashas of healing come through, and those have never been connected before, and they are now, because those are on the interim Christ grid. Okay. So, we're still missing something. What about that Christ grid and all the wisdom on there? How does that percolate through? And why now? That percolates through the divine intelligence consciousness. And that is released into now the Christ healing intuitive intuition forces based on individual upgrades if you had them, or group upgrades that are going on at the planetary level in the noosphere, which is the collective consciousness of everyone at large family groups, tribes, and nations. So we give a little more techie detail than other people who are being more general about the Great Shift, because we're kind of in there doing the work. And we're kind of a little bit more, and this one's work is a little bit more maybe for those who feel the call. But it doesn't mean that anyone who's never done any healing before can't do it, because it's that kind of a paradigm. But she's a little more of attractant to a particular type of people. And that's purposeful. And that's just the way it is. So anyway, just for those who are kind of going, this is really far out. So that divine intelligence, golden Akash of the Christ grid, comes through the divine intelligence, which is now also into the new intuition and the new Christ healing upgraded spirit body of benevolence. So why now? So that you could be prepared going forward to go to if you want to call it an enlightened planet, a peaceful planet, a cooperative planet, a planet with no more wars, a planet with good trade, a planet that's actually gone out of its own planetary system and is starting to colonize other planets around you because your population expands, and that happens. It's normal. It's part of the evolution. So don't freak out about population. It comes along with solutions, and this has been said by other people. So it's not new. So there is a purpose to it based upon where you are in evolution. There's a purpose to it based on getting ideas and solutions and things that are needed now for your continued growth and your planet's health and your health and resources and things that aren't necessary to have to go up and dig up the earth the way you are. Because that in the long run is not sustainable, and everyone knows that, which is why there's so much fear over these different kinds of minerals and all these things in the earth. And we're just using this as an example, okay? This is just a really obvious example right now that most people are aware of. So by bringing these upgrades in and connecting these other consciousnesses of you as soul groups out in the greater field into that healing body where the intuitive forces come through, now has information in various levels for various things that you need. You need the wisdom of the masters. You need new solutions and inventions. You need the wisdom of the past because, as this one said, even in medicine, they keep doing studies. They find out something really great. Then they put it on the back shelf and they never use it. And this is why she heard one of the AI guys saying, we want to put all that stuff in a computer and see if it can come up with, like, what's the best thing to do? Because no one's applying all the stuff we're learning. We're just with age of information, it's like crazy for info. We're just throwing that information away and doing more research, and we're not sort of integrating it into wisdom and applying it because of the system and the way it is now and the lack of cooperation among science and funding and corporations and inventions and the great global race for resources. So it's just where you're at. But just imagine the future, even not too far from now, in this one's lifetime, that one corporation approaches another corporation and says, I noticed that you and I have a similar problem. And we started to think about it, and we realized you had part of a solution, and we had part of a solution. And what would happen if we came together and to fix that problem, we both put our input in of things that we have in our different corporations? Because we can't do it alone, but with this together, we can fix that. And you're going to start to see that the profit being fixing problems, that the motive being fixing problems and cooperating with information more than just money. And that's part of the great shift. And that's a direct effect of what we're talking about in these 2 series that are dropping now on YouTube. Are you ready for your growth period and how to work with your spiritual guides? Because the information within those is all the hope and promise for what's coming and how and why. So your abilities to work in cooperation with each other will increase because of these other aspects opening up at the noosphere for the divine intelligence and the Gaia force to come more into the intuitive factors of your being. So we said at the earth level now, solutions for your material world. At the level of vibrational resonance, at that blue-green healing layer, you need stability and you need old energy to be moved out. That's going to happen whether you plan it or not. And at the noosphere level, you need new information because you need to have an understanding that unless you all work together, the planet can't survive, nor can you. And that wisdom is in the ancestral level. And it's in Akashas that weren't active because the Creator separates some of the wisdom purposely that it may bring it forward in certain times where it's needed through the divine intelligence and the release of that into the soul groups of the greater field where these Akashas also have connections. And no one has ever mentioned that. All the golden Akashas are in the soul groups connected to the Creator, which is what you call home after you leave your incarnation and you feel that flood of love. And all those golden Akashas are there at that level, out in the greater field. And no one's ever talked about that. So those Akashas are part of collective consciousness, even in benevolence, and they need to change, to expand. So we're percolating a picture of information coming and going. Information coming and going. From the creative source of you in love with the Creator, or you're here going, yeah, let's work in this planetary system, if you want to think of it that way. Let's learn and grow. Learn a different type of mastery here. One involving the free will of the Creator overall. Because we just learned one about love in another system we were working. And now we need to manifest that love here. And then in this system, we need to bring in will and then take that to another planetary system and let the will of the creative force go into that system. And that's all we're going to say about that large thought. The planetary pay-it-forward system of soul groups as they move to enlightenment. Anyway, these pictures have been painted. They're not new. But we just are sort of spiraling out from the micro to the macro. So that's why now, think about it. You need it. You need this. You need an upgrade of these wisdoms, these access to these wisdoms, the ability for these wisdoms to percolate, and for these akashas you've never had access to now come forward and be part of your system for unity consciousness and evolution going forward. And we hope this was understandable, and this is what we'd like to say on Why Now. All right, that's what we have to say this day, and we bid you adieu. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and keep your intentions to the creative source for peace on earth, because we need the balance. Some are going to act out and revolutionize, and some are going to hold that intention up at the noosphere for peace and calm. And that's all we have to say about that. And I'm Dr. Wendy Rowley. This was episode 8 on Why Now. And okay, works for me. Hope it worked for you. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.